Iron Man 2. Now, this is one of my favorite Iron Man movies out of the franchise. I will admit there are some problems I have with it, but it just seems like because it's more action and it more act like seemed to be what I wanted it to be. But Iron Man 2 try to establish their villains too much. Like they try to give the villains to be, they try to make the villains they have in it more sympathetical, but I didn't enjoy it that way. Like they fused both Whiplash and Crimson Dynamo, and I didn't like that because I thought Crimson Dynamo would have been an awesome villain to see in the actual series without it being concept into two villains in one. That just my minor nitpick. I didn't like how they fused those two characters together, except for Whiplash. I think was a Mickey Rourke did pretty good for Whiplash. He wasn't like I didn't know a lot of Whiplash's character. I didn't know a lot about him, but I do know some basic characters because of the '90s Iron Man series. Again, I will review the '90s series when I get to the '90s series. My '90s look back. I will be reviewing a lot of those older ones out there. So, Iron Man 2 isn't my favorite Iron Man out of the franchise. It's my least favorite one out of the franchise. But again, Don Cheadle got casted as Rhodey Rhodes, which I didn't. I don't prefer him as Rhodey Rhodes. He kind of acts a little bit more different. The actor's a little bit more older for the taste, and uh, again, seeing Don Cheadle portray him, it's just like, oh my god, they could have got somebody better, or at least let Terrence Howard come back. But still, Don Cheadle will be reprising his role in Iron Man 3. Gwyneth Paltrow, Pepper Potts. I didn't like how they did War Machine in this. They shit canned his character just to be in there. He basically takes an Iron Man suit and it gets upgraded from the military. And it kind of bugs me is how it allow him to be in there when Tony's art reactor that's in his implanted in his thing powers the suit. So I didn't know how can he power it without one of those things that he has. I don't know. It was just a minor gripe in the comics. Basically, what happened was Tony was going through his alcoholism, and he gave Rhodey Rhodes his own suit to do things. And when he got sober, he tried to stop him. He wanted to take the suit back, but developing its own arc. That would have been cool to see in another film, but it kind of just pushed to see War Machine in here, and I didn't enjoy how they did War Machine. I didn't enjoy how they did Black Widow more as like a Russian assassin, but they finally exploit that in the Avengers film. Thank you, Avengers, and again, it's my least favorite movie out of the Iron Man franchise, but I like it a little bit more than the first one because it was more like enjoyable, and Justin Hammer was a little bit more inspected. It would be kind of cool to see if they had um, Ghost as a villain in Iron Man. If you don't know who Ghost is, I would have liked to see the character of him in there because I believe that he is Justin Hammer's son or something. I forget exactly. Like I would have been cool to see one of like Obadiah's kids come to get revenge for Tony for killing his father, for killing their father. That would have been more cooler to see, but if that's just me, because I thought that would have been worked as a better one, or they could have done one of my favorite characters from Iron Man, Gargoyle, or who was the other one I was thinking of? Gargoyle, and I think it's I forget who else, but Gargoyle would have been a cool character to see. But I like how they did it in Iron Man Armored Avengers, how they established that character. But when I review the ad series, I'll get to that. But anyway, Iron Man 2 was more set in stone for its own character development. Like, it was more set up, just the Avengers setup film, and I didn't like it how it was because they also threw that teaser in the end of Captain America, which was more like a better setup for an Avengers film. But I digress. Pushing Iron Man to have a sequel was a little bit too rushed. They could have waited to do more things because they didn't establish anything from the first film at all. But I enjoyed it from what it was. So the characters in the film weren't bad at acting. It's just the way they portrayed the characters for to be a little bit more annoying. And I didn't like how they portrayed Brody Rhodes as Tony's friend. He didn't act like Tony's friend, and I hope they Don Cheadle does better in the third one, and so yeah, that's my Iron Man 2 review. So after this, go check out my other reviews too. So for my rating from this film for being a 1 out of 5, I'll give it a 2.5. Yet again, it's a good movie in its own self, but it's a little bit more better than the first one. But there are some minor nitpicks I didn't like about the film, but aside from that, it's still an enjoyable film, and yeah, it's that's my review for that. And Comic Book Dude out.